Happy Wednesday. Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. Here are some words of wisdom to give you something to think about and talk about. We have two cards today, one of which picked us, and the other one I picked because the image caught my eye and I wanted to see what the message was, and the message dovetailed with the first card, so there we go. Good morning, Rebecca. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as always, let us start with some breath. So you can tap wherever feels good to you. Good morning, Miss Jo Neal. Glad you are here. Hello, Barb. Welcome, welcome. Everybody's starting to roll in now. So just tapping wherever feels good to you. Nice deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Opening to receiving whatever part of these messages are yours for the day. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And you can keep tapping if you wish, and you can keep breathing if you wish. Wouldn't that be good? From New Zealand. Awesome. Fabulous. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. And when people show up kind of out of the ether, I always assume, good morning, Angie, thank you for the sunshine. I always assume there's a reason why you're here on this particular day. There's something in this particular message that's meant to resonate for you. So listen with your intuitive ears. I was reading, I always have like 2 or 3 books going, but I Am the Word was the book I was reading last night. And the part in there, his guides were talking about how we're in this place of developing this secondary group of senses. We've got our regular senses that we use all the time, relying heavily on physical eyesight, right? And I think we rely more on hearing than we think we do. But they were talking about it's time to develop those senses, the clairs, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, the non-physical eyes, the non-physical ears, the non-physical sense of knowing, right? So we can do that pretty easily by first declaring, I am ready to develop these, and then by looking for our opportunities and taking some time to practice. It can be things like, I'm wondering what so-and-so is thinking about X, and attempting to connect from the heart space and discern. I believe that it's good to ask permission. In that kind of work, it's good to ask permission. So I'm asking permission of Joe's higher self. Can I connect and get a sense of where he's coming from on this? So that we can have a conversation, or so that I can understand where he's coming from, whatever. And if the answer's no, don't intrude. Don't intrude. For some reason, it's not yours to know at this particular point in time. So that was an interesting little aside. Didn't expect to talk about that, but I did expect to talk about Notes from the Universe on Abundance by Mike Dooley. Good morning, Nancy. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. And I'm going to do the 2 cards in the order that they arrived. They presented themselves to me. So here is our first card. Ain't that lovely? And the title I gave it was Dance with Your Dreams. Dance with Your Dreams. So let's take a breath on that. Let it go. Opening to dancing with our dreams. So here are the words. And again, listen with your intuitive ear. Invite your intuitive ear to open and receive this message. You can dance with the illusions of time and space, choosing your steps based on things and events as they are now. Or you can dance with your dreams, choosing your steps based upon things and events as they will be. And I bet you can guess which steps will perpetuate today's illusions and which ones will change everything. Shall we? The universe. So I love that. It's not saying live in the future. What it's saying is allow for expansion, allow for opportunities. Yes, the only place you can influence that is in today, is in this moment, including your willingness to consider expansion in the future. So it can be doing a vision board and approaching that vision board not from the perspective of, I've got to have this happen right now, blah, blah, but more from, these are my opportunities. This is the path I believe I'm on. This is the path I would like to be on. I want an image of what that looks like, sounds like, feels like, so I can keep tapping into it. I have one I keep looking for. I know it's here somewhere. I think actually it fell behind the file cabinet, so I might be crawling around underneath the desk to find it. But that opportunity to imagine our dreams into reality. Again, I've told this story 100 times, but when I was working on earning my career car in Mary Kay, I drove my current car at that time as if it were the career car. So I imagined what it would look like, sound like, feel like to be driving that Mary Kay car. It worked. It worked. Again, I've talked about the CD that I listened to repeatedly. I must have listened to that thing hundreds of times in the course of car qualification. And it was a national sales director, Joanne Barnes. The CD was entitled What You Talk About. And it's basically what you talk about, you bring about. So if you're doing the lamentation of ain't it terrible, horrible, awful, it's going to continue to be terrible, horrible, awful. If you start talking about what is good right now, what is working for me right now, and this is going to lead into the second card, interestingly. What am I learning right now? What am I going to change in my life based on what I'm learning right now? All good questions, all good journaling prompts. So here is our second card. And those little poppies, that's what grabbed my attention. I just thought it was a beautiful card, and I thought, I wonder what the message is on that one. Because the curiosity was there, I took the time to pick up the card and read the back, and it augments that first card about dancing with your dreams. Yes, thank you, Gwen. Allow for opportunities. I open the doors to opportunities. Let's see what comes my way. So here's the second card, and it's as if the universe is sending us a letter. Dearest, I wish for you flowers and sunshine, gentle breezes and clear skies, calm seas and rainbows. But perhaps most of all, I wish for you the glorious breadth of experiences you are now poised to receive, so that these tidbits are mere icing on the cake of a life that's rich in adventure. Huge hug, the universe. Imagine our dreams into reality. Yes, yes, yes. And with this, what it's saying is when some things unfold that seem unpleasant, scary, unwieldy, difficult, welcome to our times, right? Those are opportunities. Those are opportunities to temper your mettle. Temper your mettle. So there's that old saw about good times breed weak people and hard times breed strong people. These opportunities to grow, to face adversity, to figure out who we are and what we want. And right now, what I'm hearing is a whole lot of people ain't wanting what's getting presented to us. That is good. That is good. We're having the opportunity to say, oh, hell no. This doesn't work for me. This isn't what I voted for. This is not good stuff. We have that opportunity. We get to speak our truth. And looking at those difficulties as opportunities, and I had that one posted on my wall for eons. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. Which one are you? Which one do you choose to be? And you may say, well, I just have this penchant towards seeing the dark side. Cool. Acknowledge that. You also have a cortex and a conscious mind that can make the decision to override that penchant. So when you're find yourself doing the ain't it terrible, horrible, awful, what's good about what's going on right now? It's getting people to wake up. It's getting people to not be lazy. It's getting people to question their own beliefs. What do I really believe? Do I believe what's being given to me, or do I oppose that? If I oppose that, what power do I have to effect change? And many of us tend to believe we don't have a whole lot of power. Untrue. We have the power to speak our truth. Yes, alignment with the universe and source. We have the power to speak our truth. We have the power to volunteer. Lately, I've been getting a lot of emails from, there's this cluster of groups here that are mostly named biblical names. There's Esther and Joshua and Moses, and all of these groups are related to caring for those who need the support, whether it's immigration reform, whether it's prison reform, whether it's taking care of Mother Earth, all of the things that we can volunteer our time, energy, money to support. We get to choose. We get to choose. And you may feel like, well, there's the people in power and they have so much power. How can I influence that? They may have power legitimately or illegitimately, concentrated within a person or a small group of people. We have power in numbers. Millions and millions of people. There's power in numbers. So, is this kind of a messy time? Absolutely. Belches, wheezes, and coughs going on all the time. However, again, it's that glorious breadth of experiences that is putting us in the position of really looking at, what do I believe? What do I want to support? What do I want my money being used for? Etc., etc., etc. Right? So, yeah, let me show you them again. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Notice this one has a rainbow in it. Magical stuff. Magical stuff. So, today, what's one small thing you can choose to think, say, do, be, donate, etc., that moves this needle a little bit forward, helps you see that you do have sovereignty and that you do have authority to choose how you wish to utilize some of your resources. So focus on what you do have, what you can do, rather than what feels like it's out of your control. So, in conclusion, I want to share my Post-it note with you. Good morning, Sue. Welcome. Glad you are here. First, I think what I want to do is I want to read through these two cards again. Have you listening with your intuitive ears? Notice within, how is my system reacting to this? And then I'm going to read that little clip and we'll be done. So here was our first card. You can dance with the illusions of time and space, and I'm going to add in there, and lack of power, the assumption that we lack power. Choosing your steps based upon things and events as they are now, or you can dance with your dreams, choosing your steps based upon things and events as they will be, as you would like them to be. And you come at it from that perspective of, I'm so happy and grateful now that, as if it's already accomplished, not the, ooh, I wish I had, because then you're coming from lack and you're perpetuating lack. So, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then spell it out juicy how you'd like things to be. And I bet you can guess which steps will perpetuate today's illusions and which ones will change everything. Shall we? The universe. And then our second card, our little love letter from the universe, reads, Dearest, I wish for you flowers and sunshine, gentle breezes and clear skies, calm seas and rainbows, but perhaps most of all I wish for you the glorious breadth of experiences. Think about that. If you call what's going on right now the glorious breadth of experiences designed to teach me things, designed to help me step up and be who I'm here to be, Doesn't it put a different focus on things? You are now, the glorious breath of experiences you are now poised to receive, so that these tidbits are mere icing on the cake of a life that's rich in adventure. Huge hug, the universe. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, here's another example of how we create our reality, right? Yes, Barb, I choose to be positive. Yes, 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 yes. And sometimes we drift off into the abyss of ain't it terrible, horrible, awful. Bring yourself back. And what I'm learning from this is, and what I choose to do out of this is, and what I have for strengths are. So yesterday, jury duty, doing my civic duty, but the person who would check us in, one of the clerks of court, was late getting there. So a bunch of us were already in there, seated, when he came in. And then he had to go through all of us and tell us where we had to be, blah, blah. And there was one guy, and I could just tell that he was tense, right? And he gave the guy his name, and he, all the stuff. And you were either given a number, which meant that you were seated on the jury, or you were just told to sit in the spectator box. Then if they needed to release any jurors, which they did because there were 2 who had moved to Brown County and never changed their voter registration, so they couldn't serve because they had to be in Outagamie County. And I can see this guy getting more and more tense. And when it's his turn to give his name, of course he got a number. He was so resistant to serving on the jury that of course he got a number, and he landed on one of those seats. And you could see the eye roll and the whole thing. And it's like most of the rest of us were like, well, if we serve, we serve. If we don't, we don't. So he ended up on the jury. And after they got everybody seated, the rest of us got sent home. And we are now done with our obligation for 4 years. We showed up, we did what we needed to do, we're now released for 4 years. But I watched this guy call upon himself exactly what he didn't want. Good morning, Helen. Welcome. Glad you're here. So here is my little sticky note to close us out today. Let's take a breath and open to receiving. I dare to believe in something bigger than my circumstances. I dare to believe in something bigger than my circumstances. What if we all, let's start with the United States. What if we all dared to believe in something bigger than what's unfolding? What if this is a mere blip on the radar screen? It's teaching us important things. I think one of the most important things it's teaching us is how fragile a democracy can be, and how easily it can be distorted into autocracy. That's a useful thing for us to know. That's a useful thing for us to learn. That's a useful thing that helps us not take for granted. Yeah. So, I dare to believe in something bigger than my circumstances. If you want some assistance with this, because there's always that little voice in our head, I call mine the committee, that just sits up there and chatters. What does she think she's doing now? What is that? That's never going to work. Blah, blah, blah. If you have the committee chattering away in your head, one of the things that you can do is start looking for examples of someone who dared to believe in something bigger than their circumstances and created the outcomes they wanted. There's examples everywhere. Certainly in sporting, there's examples. Simone Biles comes to mind. There's examples in everyday life. People who do amazing things because they believe they can. Where is it? Somewhere here. Oh, here's one. I can and I will. Got that sitting on my desk. I'm trying to find the... It's hiding here in all of the positivity. She believed she could, so she did. Thank you for posting that for me, Gwen. I appreciate it. Yes. I dare to believe in something bigger than my circumstances. Yes, yes, yes. So, I invite you all to dare to believe in something bigger than your current circumstances. This is just a wayside on the way on your path. So, I want you to imagine ahead a little bit. What do you want to see on the road? What do you want to see as you leave that wayside and move forward? What are some choices you can make today that will get you moving back on that road again? Little bitty things. So I'll tell you one I tackled yesterday. My mother collected jewelry. Lots of rhinestones, lots of old sets, the little necklaces with the earrings that soldiers and sailors used to love to give their girlfriends, from the PX. Lots of Sarah Coventry. Anybody else remember Sarah Coventry? Lots of that. So I started cleaning out the dresser drawers of all of these old kinds of jewelry. And it was an opportunity to pace myself, to reminisce, to look ahead in terms of what would I like to see happen with these. I have the name of a young woman who's very interested in the Sarah Coventry, so I'll call her once I get this whole drawer cleared out, and I mean it's a drawer full, because she'd find the rummage sales for 10 cents, 25 cents, whatever. Ooh, this is pretty. Bring it home, put it in the drawer. So now there's a drawer full of really cool, fun old jewelry. So, but it's all opportunity. It's all opportunity. Gwen, if you wouldn't mind putting that up there, I would love that. It's all opportunity. Every life experience is truly opportunity. So, be looking for your opportunities today. What are the opportunities I have? So one of the things that I did, knowing I was facing that drawer full of jewelry, was I grabbed all of these box covers from over at the warehouse. The covers that come on the boxes of paper, where there's reams of paper stacked in a box, and it's that kind of shallow cover. Grabbed a bunch of those, and that's what I'm laying the jewelry all out in, so I can sort it all out. Just obtaining the box covers, that was my first step. Now I'm actually into the process of moving out the jewelry. Thank you, Gwen, I appreciate it. Baby steps, baby steps. 1,000 baby steps will get you there, right? I've said this a bazillion times, we vastly overrate leaps and bounds. Value the baby steps and take one today. On that note, have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.